Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of Moms with Yarn. I'm Sharon, also known as Bronx Knitter, and I'm Sharon V on Ravelry.
Hi, and I'm Tracy, TB McCarthy on Ravelry.
And we're so happy to say that we have a Ravelry forum. And
Yeah,
the Ravelry forum is called Moms with Yarn, but we need to give a little clarity to that title.
we do. So Sharon and I are moms with yarn. We are two moms with yarn. That's the name that we picked when we knew we wanted to start a podcast. Um, we wanted to make sure that um, we clarify that it's you don't have to be a mom to join the group. We're not excluding people. When we ask people to join the group, we ask people that we're friendly with on Ravelry to join the group, and um, one person actually reached out to me before declining to join the group saying, thank you so much for joining, for asking me to join, but I'm not a mom, so I can't join. And that really just pained me to think that she um, couldn't join because she thought that it was about only moms. And you do not absolutely have to be a mom. You actually don't have to join the group just to be a mom. We want you to know that if you're a mom, you're a dad, you're a grandma, you're a grandpa, you're a child, you're a whoever, join the group. Just if you have a love for knitting, crafting, spinning, sewing, whatever, if you want to just go on this journey with Sharon and I and learn about what we're knitting, what we're spinning, what we're crafting about, just join the group. There's actually 61 members so far. Holy, 61 people want to join our journey. Um, See what we're doing. Join us. It's 61 people. Those 61 people are going to join us, and we're going to have a great time. So if you're interested in having a great time listening to what we're um, doing and what we plan on doing, then join. We'd love to have you. You don't have to be a mom. We don't want you to be a mom if you don't want to be a mom. So just join in.
Just join the group, right? And we also have 67 members on YouTube, subscribers. I was so blown away when I saw that number, and I said, it's really interesting how we went from thinking that it might just end up being the two of us
Yeah.
to now having 67 subscribers. So we are so, so pleased. And that would not have happened if it hadn't been for a few people. One of them is Heather from Bunnyfish Crafts podcast. She mentioned us, and our subscribership went up after that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Heather.
Thank you so much, Heather. And the other is from Diane of Knittables. And I am particularly grateful that she mentioned us because she really reached outside of herself, considering that she doesn't watch podcasts or anything. So, Diane, thank you so, so much for extending yourself in a way that might have been uncomfortable for you in some way. But we are so grateful. We are so grateful. And then there was James and Dawn of Wolf Farms. They have a podcast also. And they mentioned us, and the subscribership jumped again. So, people who mention us and boost us up, thank you so much. The knitting community is kind of, vast and big, and you just want to have like your little corner, people who have the same interests as you, and to know that they sent that traffic our way just boosted us up. And thank you so much.
I mean, for me, this was more just about that Sharon and I used to see each other once a week in the corporate environment. And since Sharon left, I don't get to see her once a week anymore. So this is my way of, speaking to her about her crafting and, just talking with her that once a week or once every 2 weeks and, just staying in touch with her. Our lives are very different in terms of what we do during the week. And we don't have that constant, just seeing each other. So this is the way that we get to see each other. So when Sharon says that we thought that it was just going to be the two of us, that was my hope that it was just going to be the two of us hitting that record button. We thought, okay, we'll hit the record button. We'll invest a little bit of money. We'll hit the record. If other people get a benefit out of it, great. But really for me, it wasn't that, it wasn't really about that. It was more about just sharing with Sharon what I'm doing and having her add value to my knitting and having me grow as a knitter. And, the fact that you guys are on this journey with us is just the added bonus for me. So,
Yay! Thank you so, so much, everybody who helps us along. And yeah, we would like to return the favor in some way. And as soon as we think something up, we'll do it.
that's true.
There's
Yeah.
nothing I can say. I also wanted to mention I have been receiving comments on YouTube about ways to make the podcast a little bit better. And thank you everybody who gave feedback. It seems like the feedback has calmed down. But I did have a woman, Susan B, ask me if we can add Q&A to the end of the podcast. So Tracy and I feel if you have a question that you want to ask, the best place to post your questions would be in the Moms with Yarn Ravelry forum. So we will, when we put the episode link in the room, if you have any questions about the episode or anything that we worked on, you can place your questions there. Tracy and I are always checking to see what's going on in the forum. I mean, we don't check every hour because we
We're
have
moms with yarn.
we're moms. We have other things to do like dishes. But if you have any questions, you can place them in the episode thread where it would be best to answer the questions, and that way, if somebody else has the same question. Also, we need to know if you're a crafter of any kind. If you do cross stitch or embroidery or sewing or weaving or spinning, I'd like to hear that feedback because I know that I'd like to set up a thread for spinners, but I don't want the weavers left out or anybody left out. So if you have an interest in any other craft besides spinning, please send me a note. You can post it in the Ravelry forum or you could send me a message. Like I said, I'm Sharon V on Ravelry, and we'll work from there because this group is so new and growing based on requests that we'd like to accommodate as many people as possible.
Yep. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, so that takes care of the administrati. Now we can get to the knitting. Do you
Nice.
do you have any FOs,
I
Tracy?
do. I do. I have a finished object. If you guys remember, I had one sock finished last week. I have the second sock finished. So I just finished the Kitchener this morning. I finished the actual sock about a week ago. I Kitchenered this morning. I don't mind the Kitchener. I pretty much have it memorized, but I use that nitty.com, the Kitchener on nitty.com. It's not a web a YouTube tutorial, but it's a web page and it has very good pictures and it's very well laid out. I go there to make sure that I have it right before I start Kitchenering because if I screw up, then I get very upset with myself. So I just make sure I have it good. I'm good. And then I start, and then I'm happy. Everything's good. But so I finished that this morning, and there's my sock. So this is the My Knitted Heart vanilla sock in the dreidel colorway, and this is the Socks That Rock medium weight. This is my first time using medium weight. I really like it. It's a little bit heavier than the fingering. They're lightweight. I only have a few skeins of the medium weight, and I think this might be my new weight. I'm not sure. So I got this from San Jewel on Ravelry. She's a wonderful woman. I purchased that from her. I purchased a few skeins from her. She has some good stash for sale. And
You
then
got that yarn from a D
I
stash?
did. I
You
did.
sneaky devil.
I did. She is Sand Jewel, Sandjul. She has some good stash for sale. She also has some plucky knitter stash for sale. Just putting it out there.
She's Sand Jewel on Ravelry?
Yes.
All right.
Sand Jewel.
I'm not going for any D stash because I
Yeah,
got my own problems.
no stash problems. So that's all my finished objects.
Okay. Well, I have a finished object. It was living in my silver shed bag.
Oh, that's cute.
Isn't that adorable? That's where it was living. But now I had made a pair of socks using Cascade Heritage sock yarn in black. And I was using String Theory's blue stocking in the Digidaroo. Digidaroo. You know what I'm talking about. It is 420 yards of 80% superwash blue face Leicester and 20% nylon. And really, this is, there's a camera. It's so pretty, and I'm so glad I have yarn left over. I might have enough to make one stitch surfer, who knows.
Ooh.
Woo! And I finished my socks. And here it is.
Oh, those came out so pretty.
I love the diamond shape, but I also like how
The box.
the bottom of the sock shows off the colors that are in the yarn
Yeah.
because it gets a little distorted here at the top.
Yes.
So I used a US size 1, and this pattern is more of a recipe than an actual sock pattern. So you make the sock and she says cast on using the needle of your choice.
Mm,
Cast on X amount of stitches, use the heel flap of your choice. So I wouldn't necessarily say this is for a beginner sock knitter, but it is a very easy pattern once you have knowledge about how to make socks. So that was them. I'm really happy with them. This is not the first time I've made them. I made a light colored with a white contrast on my other pair. Sadly, they lived and then they died. So I might have to make myself a replacement pair, but there's so many sock patterns out there, why replace them? Just make something new.
did they die like this?
That's the thing about socks. Socks are not meant to live forever. And you're not supposed to keep them after I get a hole the size of a crater in them.
So I come home from work the other day, and this is what was on my desk. My mother leaves this on my desk. And I was like, this was like probably the second pair of socks I made.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what in the name of sweet Jesus did you do to my 17 hours of painful sock knitting? Why did you keep wearing that? Why did you keep wearing them after they'd had a tiny little hole? What did you do? It was painful. And then I saw this.
Oh, the sock is finished. That just means it's time for a new pair. Because honestly, socks don't live forever. They die.
And she goes like this. She's like, look. She's
Thanks,
like,
Mom.
look what happened. And I was like, what are you doing? Don't do that. Like, why are you doing that? Don't pull it. I couldn't run to the socks fast enough to save them.
Yeah.
And then she goes, and then she shows me this. And she can't just go like this. She can't just go like this. She's like, look what happened.
Yay.
Look what happened. Look what happened. I'm like,
Time for a new pair because that's what happens with socks.
these are hers.
Yeah. And the thing about it is too is that the reason why people make socks for people is because they love them. Because you know your family. Sometimes a sock is going in the dryer, and sometimes a sock is going in the wash with the dark clothes, or it happens.
She wore them to death.
That means she loved them to death. So that still makes her knitworthy.
It does.
Yeah, like my mom. I make socks for somebody else, and when my mom travels, I ask her to bring them, and then they end up in her suitcase back home with her. Or she'll say, oh, if you're going to make something for so-and-so, just pass it by me.
Yeah,
What
no.
in the world does pass it by me mean?
She'll try it on, and if she
Okay.
likes it, then she may not pass it around.
Okay. I got crazy mom stories, but I'm not going to go into that here. Do you have any
Yep,
works in progress?
I do. So easy work in progress. Oh, okay. So I made, as you know, I did one of these. I think I did this one. So I did this the last time I was here. Remember,
Yes, that is for the Little Oak by Alana Dakos.
I did, and then I did a second sleeve.
Uh-huh.
But when I was finished,
Pull back a little. Oh. Oh. Okay.
wait, what are you owing about?
Because your stitch markers seem to line up.
But
The one with the one stitch marker in it, yeah. That's the one you're currently working on, right?
it's done. This
Which one
one's
are you currently working on?
this was the one that I cast on after the last podcast. This one I finished the first time, and then I did this one since the last podcast.
Because sometimes when knitting sits, it draws in, so it just might look like it drew in.
Oh, you think this one looks tighter?
I can't tell the stitch definition because of the lighting.
Yeah, but this one seems tighter.
I can't tell
Yeah, this
because
seems
of
tighter.
the stitch definition. I add the lights, not letting me see the stitches.
Is this better?
No, not exactly.
Is this better? If I do this, can you see it? All I wanted
So
is this.
get the gasolina, set it on fire.
You're gonna have to rip it out. Because as much as I just want to keep moving on, I'm going to see the little boy in this and I'm going to say, oh, wow, his right arm looks so much fatter.
That's the one with the muscles in it.
What are you feeding him? And how come his right arm? You should take him to the doctor. His right arm looks so much skinnier than his left arm, but only in that sweater. Weird. Something funny's going on.
Nobody would ever notice, and it's going to be a while before he wears it anyway, but it'll be under his coat or his arms will be bent. He's not going to be like, look,
This one's tighter. I
the
don't like it.
screwy knitter. Yeah, I can't get my arm in the other sleeve. I don't think so. So do you have any other whips? Because that
So
one is going to be the bane of your existence.
that one aggravated me, so I cast on another. I feel like Diane with its 15 million stitch surfers.
Uh-huh.
This is my knitted sock, my knitted heart sock.
Pull back a little. You're too
Oh,
close.
sorry.
There we go. It's pretty.
Yeah, it's in the Socks That Rock, Cables of Wrath. This is lightweight. I used the collage square needles. Do you want me to talk about the square needles?
We'll talk about that at the end.
I used that.
So the difference, so
So now, if you remember, this was the medium weight, this was the lightweight.
right.
Yeah, I said that I used the size 1.5 with these because it was a little bit thicker.
Mm-hmm.
And someone said to go up a needle size because they knit up tighter. I
Mm-hmm.
went back to my size ones, noticed no difference.
Do
So,
you notice a difference in the yarn between the lightweight and the medium weight?
not really, I mean, the medium weight is thicker. I like them both. I think I like them both. I think that because I'm knitting socks, I would probably pick the medium weight because it's thicker. So I think I would pick the medium weight, go back down to a size one, make it a little bit denser, and just have it be that's my weight, that's my needle size, and that's what I'm gonna do from now on.
Okay. Well, I have one skein left of Blue Moon Fiber Arts socks that is the Rhinebeck colorway.
The Bo Peep, I was just gonna ask.
Yes, that's my last game. And I used the socks. I used the other skeins to make socks because it seems like every time I went to some fiber or yarn event, I always picked up because that was the only place to get it.
Yep.
So I would always pick up a skein, sometimes two, and it is overwhelming, the display, when you go see it and you see all those colors together. It's so hard to pick one. And I had
Yep.
the same problem in Miss Babs'
Yeah.
booth. Tracy, if you ever get to go to a fiber festival, even if it's only one,
Yeah.
and you see how the vendors set up, it is awesome. I mean, you get to meet the people behind the, you know, the yarn, and you look at the wall and you know how much effort they put into it. So you know you're getting a quality object.
Yep.
So, but the Socks That Rocks, I really adore it. But I just, you know, when I picked up this skein, it was on the wall at Stitches East, I believe it was. I was like, these colors are all kind of the same, but you know, I really want to try the BFL sock yarn. I hear people talking about it. I picked it up, and I mean, I love it.
You do.
Yes, I love it. And even after I washed it, I loved it. So,
Good.
yeah. So, anyway,
Is it soft with lace blister? Is it
you
soft?
know, it is not merino soft, but it's like off by maybe 1 degree, maybe two. Just not that different. And the color sense is there's like this overall fuzzy
Yeah.
red kind of color, but it doesn't turn up red when it's knit up. So I would say I would get more.
Okay.
I would use it again. So
Okay.
that's the end of that. So what other FO have you got?
That's it.
That's it?
I have nothing else.
I have um, an FO, two. I
Yeah.
have actually two whips.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say, whip.
Yeah.
About 300 years ago, I made a purchase of some yarn. It is Valley Yarns Goshen
Okay.
in the linen colorway. It is 48% Peruvian cotton, 46% modal, and 6% silk. And I decided that I would pull that together and put it in a sweater for my mom who asked for it. And the best picture I can give you is
Oh, that's so
this.
pretty.
And it is called the Lavender Cardigan. I'm sure there's a page with a title on it someplace. And it is by Schneckenstrick. Got
That
that?
I do. That is very good. You must have been practicing that.
No, actually, I grew up around 88,000
Oh,
accents in my
yeah.
family
Yeah.
alone. So this is the yarn.
Nice.
Honestly, why did I buy it? 12 skeins of it is still a mystery to me. And it's been in the box for 1,000 years, so I'm not very far. I'm doing this on my Addy Clicks, the lace weights, and it is on US size 6, 4 millimeter. And I'm really not far enough along, and I can't find the rest of my cables. But this sweater is worked from the top down,
Yep.
so you're never going to see much here. It's mostly a garter stitch yoke, and a stockinette stitch body. So
Nice.
maybe when I get a little bit farther along,
How many skeins do you think it's going to use?
well, the pattern calls for 6 skeins of yarn. Um, that it's Lana Grossa Linart, 136 yards. But these
Those are
skeins are
92, I
much,
think. Yeah, those are
they're,
92.
yeah, it's a much less, 92 yards, but I have 12 skeins of it, so
Yeah. Okay.
I should be okay with that. And I'm getting the fabric that I want, and you just make the
Good.
yoke long enough to become sleeves because you join it under the arms.
Oh, okay.
And it's a free pattern on Ravelry, so that's one.
That's one.
Yes. And the other one is, well, I actually can't tell you anything. I can show you. Remember I used the creatively dyed uh, ancient yarn to make the
Hmm.
knee socks for my uncle? Well,
Yes.
you know, I had a bunch of it left.
Hmm.
So Heather from Bunnyfish Crafts podcast asked me if I would do a test knit, and I've test knit for her before. And her socks are very, I want to say, um, detailed. There's a lot of detail. And so I started yesterday, and I really didn't get much done. And this is the back of the sock because the party is in the front. And she's not ready to release yet.
Okay.
So this is my secret knitting. And I've already skeined up another ball of yarn, but it could become anything because what happens is I do some restashification and come across a skein and you're like, I'm going to use this today and I'm going to make this. And then 2 hours goes by or I blink and turn around once and it's over. So,
So what needles are you using? Signatures?
no, these are the Carbons
You know,
needle.
I was actually going to ask if that was going to be my second guess. Do you like the carbons?
Hate them. I hate to say that I don't um, enjoy them. I heard so many people talking about them, but you can't tell, and I wish you could. The points are like daggers, first of all, which doesn't bother me. But the point, there's a ridge between the point and the barrel.
Got it.
And so it gets stuck right here.
Yeah, I hate that.
And it comes in a package of 5 needles.
Uh-huh.
And these are US ones, 2.25 millimeter. And it comes in, but I used one as a cable needle because it's stuck in something else. And the other 4 are here. I don't want to have to toil about moving my yarn. I want it to
Yeah.
slide,
Yes,
you
me too.
know? So I have a problem with needles that A, don't slide, B, they're shorter than what I would normally use.
What do you normally use?
I like my needles to be the 7-inch needles.
Okay, and those are how long?
6.
Okay.
That was the longest size they had. Merciful heaven, I only, when you hear somebody talking about they love their carbons, they're gonna blah, blah, blah. I always buy just one set in my favorite size, try it, and if I like it, I can
And
keep
you get
going.
more. Yeah.
I only got the one set, and I would not buy them again.
Okay.
Do you have a needle story?
I do. Should I go into it now?
Sure. Because I don't have any more whips. I'm
Okay.
done.
So I can't, oh, here they are. So last week I told you that I had issues with my collage square needles. So these are the square collage. I was using the 1.5s because I was medium socks that rock, and the the cable actually started separating, and like you, it was getting caught as I was pulling the yarn, right? So instead of calling collage, I called Grandma Hand Knitting, and I said, I purchased this needle. Just guide me. Do I return to you, or would you prefer I contact collage? 6 to 1, half a dozen of another to me. Just let me know. She was wonderful. She said, just let me know which, because I had ordered a few pairs. I ordered the 1.5s, the ones in the 24-inch, and then I also ordered 2 pairs of the 16-inch size ones because I wasn't sure how I was gonna, like what I was gonna use. She's like, just tell me which one are the ones that are giving you an issue, and I'll send them out tonight as a replacement. So I thought that was wonderful. But I'm realizing, remember I said that they were like $8 or $9? They're like $15.50. So they were quite costly. So I was actually very happy that I eventually did contact her. So very nice. She sent them back out to me. And by that point, I had finished I was on my second my second set. So I had finished. So I just quickly put them on a weight, a set of a different needle to do the Kitchener, and I started this on my new size ones, which I hadn't used. So I hadn't tried the 1.5. So now I'm on my size ones, and I'm halfway through my first one, and this one starts separating. And not only does it separate, but it's off. Like it like completely gone. Like it's off. So what do I do? Do I glue it? Like do I put the Gorilla Glue?
No, in fact, if you've already contacted Grandma's Hand Knitting and she replaced your needles, the problem is not her. The problem
No,
is
it's
the
not her.
manufacturer.
Yeah.
And so you need to write a letter and you need to send that busted needle back to the manufacturer and tell them this is a problem because obviously
Either a
when you
bad
use the
batch.
magic
Yeah.
loop, the tension of where your hand meets the join
Yeah.
wears and it could cause it to break. And it's not because of the needle, it's because of the way that you knit. However, a good needle that costs
Doesn't
that kind
happen
of
with my,
money,
yeah.
it has something to do with the actual length of the
Yeah.
needle. So, right, back up a little. Yeah, it has to do with the length of the needle. I like the 7-inch needles, but I'm short. I'm only 5 feet tall. I have little hands. So it has to do with where your hand goes that impacts the join. So it has to do with the way you knit, and it also could be a design flaw. So I would, if I were you, I'd send a note to the
Manufacturer.
manufacturer,
I mean,
and somebody else might have better luck with your collages than you do. You could always destash them on Ravelry if it comes to that, if you can't get replacements, because even a replacement, you risk the same
yeah.
event.
I mean, and I'm gonna, I'm obviously, I had mentioned that Nada over at Grandma Hand Knitting is having a sale, the 10% off. I'm planning on purchasing, it's a shame because if these were good needles, I was planning on purchasing, I mean, $15 with 10% off. I mean, that's a big savings. I will never buy these again, ever. Like,
Yeah.
this is it. Collage, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. Like,
But they might be good for somebody else.
might be good for someone else. Like again, I mean, thank you for saying that because and again, this I think is just my, newness to knitting. I've only been knitting and I've only been knitting specific things. I'm definitely a knitter that knits 1,000 socks and then moves on to 1,000 hats and then moves on to that. I definitely do one thing and move on. So, you know, when I like something, I do it to death. So I really like my Chiagos. And, I think what I want to do next is I want to try and the reason why I asked you what your double points are is I think I want to invest in one pair of signature double points. I've heard a lot of great things. I've heard their customer service is really good. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but um, I just I want to invest in a good pair of double points. I have the Susan Bates ones.
I love
Um,
the Susan Bates Teflon
yeah,
coated. I mean, I have signatures, I have carbons, I have addies. I love the sock rockets. But my go-to needles, especially because I don't want to carry the expensive
yeah,
needles with me when I travel, is the Susan Bates. Um, and it's great. I
yeah,
don't have any problems with them. Signatures, I could take or leave, even though I have about 7 or 8 pair.
yep.
Um,
I don't think I want to try the double points on my.
I would tell you to get the set in your favorite size and then make the investment because they're not for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like I wanted to try these. I did it. I wanted to try the Chiagos. They're going to be my go-to. I don't love the Addies. I have a lot of them. I don't love them. They're not, I use them. I use them on this. I know you love the Haya Haya. They're not my favorite. I mean, it's just, I think it's personal preference.
It
No,
is. It
yeah,
is. And it has a lot to do. I mean, I've been knitting for about, let's see, I'm 27. Um, I've been knitting for I know my son is 21. I'm 27. I've been knitting for over 40 years, and you develop a style, and it generally stays your style. And so finding the right needles that you can get comfortable with changes over time, how your hands feel, and so it you gotta try before you buy. And I don't really care for the chow goose.
Yeah.
I like them, but I don't love them, but I have a set, so I use what I have at the time because sometimes I have 15 projects on the needles. And then I teach knitting on the weekends, so somebody might have to borrow something, and I'll be flayed and barbecued before I lend somebody my signatures. So I had a lot of cheap needles.
Yep.
And it works. You just got to find what works for you.
Yep. So that's where I am with my knitting needles. So we'll see.
We'll see. Well, it's not grandma's hand knitting, it's the manufacturer's
Oh, no.
collage. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely the manufacturer and
Would
like
you consider trying the Nova Cubics?
yeah, I mean I'm interested in trying different things. I mean, like I said, I love the Chiagos, but I'm always interested in trying new, because like I said last time, I mean, I love the Chiagos, but I've heard a lot of great things about these ones that, again, work for other people, but
Right.
just don't work for me. And that's
Well,
okay. I mean,
I ordered a set of Nova Cubics to see how that goes because I think they came in a longer size. I can't remember, but they were on sale at Jimmy Bean's Wool.
okay.
So that's where I went.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know how they
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because I have another pair of socks I have to make because I have 4 pairs to make the 52/26 pair plunge. So that's where I am. So
So that's
that's
all
it.
yeah, that's all I have. Anything else for you?
Nope, I'm all good, and I guess that's it. So everybody, if you came back to see us, thank
Yep.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And new viewers, thank you also. Thank you, and hope you'll come back.
Yep.
Until then, thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye bye.